For this week, we're off to Philadelphia to look at some maps. These two maps were produced by an MSGIST student a few years ago, and it was a reference map for showing where that they did their research for a specific project. Now this map is unique in one way is that students were designing for PowerPoint, and so this is a good map to look at how the medium of PowerPoint changes what you want to do in cartography. So one of the first things that I notice is every text is it's big. It's jumping out. Like if we were going to make this for print, this would be kind of ugly, that it would be much too large. I'd have them down to around a 6 or an 8-point font. But in this case, she's got them up around a 16-point font, which is really nice. So again, let's look at the elements of the map, the whole holistic part, as well as the subparts, looking at the feature model of space, of points, lines, and areas. So let's first start by looking at the points. And to begin with, we have these little cities, the red dots here. And remember Yule's law up and to the right, where we offset, or offset, offset, offset. And the first thing that I started to see is that she is applying Yule's law, but I think in some cases it can get a little bit confusing. Like, is this Independence or is this Drexel Hill? And why is there two Philadelphias? If this is all Philadelphia County and the Philadelphia city. So it gets a little kind of confusing. I probably wouldn't have put the city in here. And in some cases, there's a little bit of too much space, especially with King of Prussia. There's no reason why she couldn't have gone over here and put the text. So a couple little minor things that I would have changed here. Do notice that she's using a halo around the point font, and that's to help break the lines. But rather than using a halo, I often like to use a full mask. So you see how there's little pieces of line there? And even up here, that rather than getting it where you can kind of break the line, you can do kind of like a solid cut. And it looks a lot cleaner and you don't notice it. So that's our points. Now let's look at our lines. The lines, again, are mainly the freeways. And the first thing that I start to see is how it's labeled. That she didn't go in and edit the labels. When you do freeway symbols, we never see the I or interstate. And so all the I's should have been taken out. Same thing with the U's on here. But other than that, the symbology looks good. It just needed a little bit of cleaning. Now on the areas, we can look at Philadelphia. And notice that there's, in Montgomery, Chester, Delaware, the different counties. Notice that she's trying to make them distinct by varying the font. So where the cities are in a sans serif, she's using a serif font for the counties. But since she didn't vary the color, you see that they have the black with a mask or a halo on it, I find that there's not that much contrast between them to notice the difference. So I would have probably varied the text just a little bit more. Also, Chester is rubbing the map frame. I would have moved it in a little bit. Other than that, nice scale bar, very small, subtle. Nice north arrow. Oh, I see one more error. She's got a double line on the bottom of the map frame, and it's not consistent on all sides. So there's a slight error down there as well. But a pretty map, some minor things that could have been fixed on it. Her second map that she did was median household income with toxic air emissions. And one of the first things I noticed is that she did use Color Brewer in this, and a color wheel. So she used Color Brewer to choose the color ramp, and then looked at a color wheel to find complementary colors. Usually we use Adobe Cooler, is what it's called, K-U-L-E-R. You can look it up. And the reason I notice it is that these are at opposite ends of the color wheel. And so that they make for very nice complementary colors and vary the color size. She also did a real nice job with graduated symbols. One of the key things with graduated symbols is the variation between symbol size and easily seeing the difference on the map. So that was done very well. A lot of times you see that the variation is not done well, and we can't see the ramp quite as significant as we do here. Nice thing that was done here with this map is that Notice it's got this pop-out effect because it's like floating free in PowerPoint. I call it like a newspaper effect, where they've gone in here and they've used a tool in PowerPoint called Set Transparent Color and removed the background information. So it's just sitting in PowerPoint. And then she brought in the legend, probably as an image, separately from the map. So it's a really nice, cool trick to do in PowerPoint. And that's it for this week on Map Critique.